to Bad Movie Beatdown as we continue with our month of wrestling movies with the stone cold vehicle, The Condemned. A beer-swilling redneck thug, Austin captured the company at the time, where it was bloodier, grittier and edgier than before. It was much more anti-authority, which was why one of his most legendary feuds was with owner Vince McMahon. In terms of popularity, Austin is perhaps second to The Rock, so it makes sense for him to follow in his footsteps. Austin was originally intended for the Marine, but his big screen debut was The Condemned, which once again was made by WWE Films. I actually wanted to review this last series, but instead I opted to choose Gamer, and the two films are quite similar, albeit not really the same. Gamer, as you may recall, was a profoundly flawed movie that satirised media violence and sexuality, especially in video games, whilst apparently wallowing in it, in a wonderful example of having your cake and eating it. The Condemned and Gamer both share that theme, and their plotlines of prisoners competing in death matches for a chance of escaping death row both echo each other too. Oh yes, there are definite comparisons to The Running Man to be made here as well. So how does The Condemned stack up against those movies? Let's find out. The film begins in a grim Eastern European prison. Two men are welcomed in by the guards and taken to the other wrestler in this film, Nathan Jones, who plays Peter. Three men are thrown in against him and he is shown dominating them all with ease. Is this character going to be important? Nope. Because who wants to start the film with the lead characters? Whilst this is going on, we cut to the camera crew filming just to establish our theme. They're broadcasting this for Breckel, their producer, who you can tell from the first glance is evil. He's organising an island death match, you see.
How are you tracking?
We're hot. Awareness on porn and fight blogs, 92%.
I want 100. 100% awareness across this internet. You got it?
You got it.
Oh yeah, that sounds reasonable. I want 100% awareness over the interwebs. Because the internet's a really small place, apparently. And who cares about keeping your little unsanctioned deathmatch that breaks a number of laws quiet? Why not be the idiot that tries taking this to the mainstream? In fact, he actually conducts an interview with a mainstream interviewer intended to be shown on national television to promote the webcast. Yeah, that'll be allowed. If you're noticing that both this and Gamer use expository interviews with their evil geniuses to establish their plots, congratulations, you spotted a lazy writing device.
I've pulled 10 contestants from third-world prisons. Each was on death row. I will free one of them. See, tomorrow, I'm going to bring them here to this island, where I will give them a fighting chance at a new life.
1 lives, 9 die.
Is that so wrong?
It's immoral and illegal.
How dare she ask questions about the moral implications of what I'm doing? I was totally not prepared for this. I'm getting out of here right now. Breckel is informed that one of the prisoners for the event needs to be replaced.
They shot my Arab. We had him on the mainland and they shot my fucking Arab. This is the Arab world. If they don't have anybody to cheer for, they don't log on. I want a child-killing, suicide-bombing Arab.
Christ, movie, we get it. He's a bad guy. We spotted that before the massive racist tirade he just did. He couldn't be more transparent unless he started twirling his mustache. They have reports of an Arab in El Salvador if they want him. So it's here, over 10 minutes into the movie, which is just long enough for you to forget he was in it, do we finally meet Steve Austin as Jack Conrad. And we can tell he's a good egg because he feeds the prison rats. This is meant to be a Steve Austin vehicle, right? So why have you taken over 10 minutes to introduce him? Jack is brought to the Arab so that he can be made an example of, like in the first scene. However, Jack is such a hard nut that he knocks the Arab out in 2 blows flat. Breckel wants him immediately.
Thought you wanted an Arab.
He's perfect. With anti-Americanism rampant all over the globe, people are gonna love to hate this cowboy.
So that racist tirade was pointless too? How nice! So Jack is cleaned up and sent to the New Guinea island where this is taking place, where he meets with Breckel and gives him the perfect chance to show off his trash talk skills.
Jack Conrad, American, blew up a building in El Salvador, killing 3 men. What were you doing in El Salvador?
Working on my town.
Well, where are you from? Back in the States then, huh?
Alaska. Little fishing town, you probably heard of it. It's called Fuck Your Mama.
See? This is what we want to see. Some Arnold-style cheesy dialogue that's actually pretty funny. I mean, if the movie keeps up like this, we might be onto a winner. Of course it doesn't. We also meet the other 9 prisoners competing in the tournament, most prominent of which include a Bonnie and Clyde couple named Packer and Rosa, who definitely aren't getting off the island together, and Vinnie Jones, clearly our antagonist as psychopathic ex-SAS officer McStarley. It's certainly a much more fitting role than the last time he appeared on this show. Besides that, I really can't help you. The film makes staggeringly little effort in even trying to establish who each of these people are. I don't even think you get their names, or at least enough time to acknowledge them. That means that the rest end up being types that you recognise by face. That's the Asian guy that thinks he's Bruce Lee, the black woman, some token thugs to fill out the body count, Nathan Jones, the black guy. I think that's about it. I don't expect them to characterise 10 people, but at least give us a token attempt to make us care who the hell these people are. Oh, and if you look on Wikipedia, they actually have character biographies that tell us their backstories. Well, that's fascinating because none of that comes across or is even hinted at on screen.
On your ankle, you all have a rig, packed with 20 ounces of plastic explosive. In exactly 30 hours from now, that plastic explosive will do what it does best.
And if you're wondering why we haven't put them around your neck, that's because that would be blatantly copying Battle Royale as opposed to merely ripping it off. The ankle bracelets can also be detonated by pulling the release tab or by trying to tamper with them, which means there won't be a dearth of explosions in this WWE film either. Now that hardly seems fair, does it? Surely wait until they're on the island so they have 30 hours of fighting time? The convicts are flown to the island for the drop-off, which is where the live webcast begins. The prisoners are given the keys to their cuffs and thrown out of the helicopters, which you think would be impossible to screw up, but apparently not.
Okay, let's go! Open your mouth! Get in your mouth! Get out of here!
Oops.
Oh, that's terrific. The movie doesn't even know what to do with all the characters, so it kills one right off the bat. Because, you know, it's not like fights are the movie's main selling point, idiots. That's not the only bit of trouble they have either.
Come on, open your fucking mouth! You dumb son of a bitch!
Why the hell is Jack fighting to avoid being given his key? You know, there is a thin line between badass and dumbass, and I think Jack just crossed the line. And sure enough, the first fight soon gets underway as the German attacks the black woman Yasantwa on the beach. You might think that Running Man style fun is on the way, but that soon erodes when you realise the fight is sexualised violence, even forcing his body on top of hers. It's at this point you realise the filmmakers are going to take their stupid exploitive premise very, very seriously, and it's not going to be very much fun at all. Thankfully, Yasantwa manages to groin strike her way out, stabbing the German in the neck before pulling the tag on his ankle bracelet, making him second to be killed. The explosions are clearly a clean way of dispatching people, because the filmmakers are too cheap and uptight to think of gory or creative ways of dispatching them. Meanwhile, Breckle is thinking of his ratings.
Brett, 5 million users just logged on to the site.
Well, that's a start.
That's a start. You know how many households watch the Super Bowl? Yeah, like 40 million. Right. That's what I'm after.
You think your deathmatch is the Super Bowl? I'm sorry, but there are not 40 million sociopaths in the world. Not to mention the Super Bowl is not a pay-per-view event. Even the highest rated pay-per-view boxing event only had 30% of that audience. You're ambitious to a super furnace fault. Jack runs into Paco looking for his wife, and they soon form an alliance after a brief scuffle. As a result, Paco throws Jack the keys to the cuffs. So, what's the point of leaving Jack handcuffed and disadvantaged if we're not going to do anything with it? Oh, that's right, it's completely pointless. Meanwhile, black guy Creston and Asian guy Sega both spot a supply drop and race to get there. In these drops are food, water and weapons. In this case, a knife. That's the cue for another fight scene. Oh, and if you're wondering how I know the character names, that's because I looked them up on IMDb, because evidently I'm more interested in knowing who these people are than the filmmakers do. Creston manages to quickly escape like he's Batman, Batman somehow, and Sega ends up finding McStarley in his place, who wants to make a truce with him to take down the island together. Meanwhile, the film realises that maybe its star should actually have a fight scene at some point, so the two wrestlers collide. That's of course if you can actually see it because it's filmed in nausea cam. These two people are wrestlers! They should be able to do a fight scene without the camera guy zooming in and out like an idiot. To underline the point of media influence and control, the fight scenes so far are frequently intercut with the guys and girls in the tech room inanely commenting on the action and controlling the angles, even putting on background music like a movie. Subtle, guys. Rackle has a girlfriend, and I have no idea what she sees in the blatant supervillain, but she spends most of the scenes looking aghast at the violence so that you know it's wrong. Lady, your boyfriend pits the idea of an island deathmatch. You shouldn't be so surprised that it's violent and barbaric. In fact, that's probably a good time to leave the bastard. Back with the pair, and they end up sliding down a hillside. You think they designed these things so they aren't accidentally activated by a heavy fall. Jack kicks off his opponent and he blows up in mid-air. This is going to be how all the fights are going to go, isn't it? Every single fight is a scuffle to see who can pull the ankle tag first, and it gets real repetitive real fast. Elsewhere, the FBI is trying to work out where the web stream is taking place, but there are so many small islands in the area that it's hard to work out. Did you try asking the reporter on the island earlier? We also get to meet Jack's girlfriend, Sarah, who lives in Texas, naturally. She gets a call from the FBI and then goes to a bar full of Jack's friends and finds the site using a simple search engine and starts watching the show. The FBI's done a really good job of blocking the website, it seems. Rosa and Packer both reunite in the jungle, and you can just tell something terrible is right around the corner for this duo. Sure enough, here comes the Brothers of Destruction. Packer tries to fight McStarley, but he ends up with a broken leg chained to a tree.
Just want to be friends. How is that? No.
That's the wrong leg. You broke his right leg, not his left. We remember that because it happened a minute ago. He's then forced to watch as his wife is abused by McStarley in one of the film's most despicable scenes.
You look at those titties here.
I hate this sequence largely because the filmmaker's telling us, stop having fun, guys! And the brutality continues as she is raped, albeit off screen, but we can still hear it. But I don't think the filmmakers are being heavy-handed enough. So how about we have a bit where Satan here asks how many angles they have before getting some mobile camera in for a closer look? Because he's evil! It's probably a bit too late to put on the Running Man, isn't it? I'm not saying it doesn't have the same hypocrisy of Gamer or The Condemned, but it was played largely over the top, which suggested it was aware of how extreme and outlandish its premise was. The Condemned doesn't have a bone of humour in its body, which is why we have a rape scene here, because this is a serious movie. The result is deliberately not entertaining and the movie becomes a dreary slog, but more on that later.
That's one angry bitch.
This whole sequence is completely out of place, and it marks the point where the movie crosses the line of no return. Paco manages to escape and Jack finds him. It turns out sympathy is not something Steve Austin can properly emote.
You hurt me together. No, I hope you stay alive. Get yourself together.
Get yourself together? The guy has just seen his wife brutally raped and attacked, and his knee has been broken. I think he's going to need more than a second to compose himself, you prick. So Jack takes Paco along, even though his injury basically makes him a deadweight. Jack finds a piece of shrapnel, which he uses to block out the GPS tracking them in their ankle bracelets. Shouldn't that set off the bomb? This is the very definition of tampering with the bracelet. If you're wondering how Jack knows his stuff, we're revealed in another scene with the FBI he's actually a Black Ops undercover agent named Jack Riley who got stuck in the prison when his false papers were uncovered. Basically, it's a fine example of the cigar excuse, where the character's hidden past allows for a scene where the characters talk in hushed tones about how awesome he is. Jack goes off to try and find a radio, which means leaving Paco behind armed with just a knife. Yeah, I think Paco's going to be a goner soon. In his search, Jack enters one of the island's dead spots, where there are no cameras.
Breck, as you can see, the American, he is off my monitors completely. And the reason why I lost him is because he is headed towards us. And I did not rig cameras where we are at.
Whoa! Time out! Not only are you sharing an island with a bunch of armed and violent criminals, but you didn't think of setting up any cameras outside your centre, you know, just in case someone might try and attack you. This is astronomically stupid. Look, I understand the island having dead spots, but right outside the broadcast centre? And their security is just as lax as it seems, because Jack runs into their compound and climbs up a sentry using the radio to contact Sarah, only subduing 2 guards in the process and not even being noticed for some amount of time. You would have thought, given that they are sharing the island with rapists and murderers, that security would be a prime concern, but apparently not. Jack is soon discovered and makes his escape. Elsewhere, Creston and Yasantwa both encounter each other because the filmmakers don't really know what else to do with them.
Think they're gonna get it on.
Say the last time you trusted a woman, you ended up on death row.
I'm being transferred to Folsom. I bust out, make my way to Mexico. I start seeing this native girl. She get nailed on some bullshit possession charge. She tell the cops everything. And when they come, I got 14 pounds of hash under the bed.
And being 2 black people, the movie slyly suggests a romance.
You feel me, baby?
Baby, where you at? Oh, bitch got me again. Not again, not again.
Or not. I suppose that was meant to be funny as opposed to vaguely misogynistic. Change channel and yep, Packer is getting brutally beaten to death. Naturally, lead producer Goldman and Breckle's girlfriend try to convince him once again that this is wrong.
It's too much for me, Breck. We have now crossed a line that is beyond the line that I thought we were going to cross.
Your friend put a bunch of convicts on an island to fight each other to the death for other people's amusement. I don't think there was a line for taste and decency this wasn't gonna cross.
Some of it's a little difficult to watch, but it's essential. That's storytelling.
No, it's too fucking real, and I can't hold down food.
Nothing's real. CNN, ABC, all manufactured and manipulated just like this.
No, because ABC and MTV are fake, staged violence. By having your straw man compare real violence with staged violence, you're implying that they are one and the same, and that is not true. After that patronising scene, we're back with Jack finding Paco being tortured and not being able to do anything about it. He can only watch helplessly whilst McStarley sets Paco's body alight. Look, movie, just decide whether you want to be an action film or a grim critique, because right now you're falling between 2 stools and not satisfying anyone. The following day, Jack manages to encounter McStarley and Sega again, with him managing to brutally pummel Sega. He hides in a hut as McStarley chases him, where he ends up encountering Yasantwa, who ends up getting shot in the back by McStarley's arrow. With Sega throwing Molotov cocktails into the hut, Jack escapes whilst Yasantwa blows herself up. I like how even the movie seems bored of its own premise and is now just picking people off so we can get to the final 2 quicker and hopefully the credits. They naturally think Jack is dead, so the pair turn on each other. Jack, obviously, is still alive, and rather than letting them kill each other, starts the triple threat afresh, eventually stabbing Sega. I'm guessing we're supposed to cheer at that moment, right, movie? So Hunter becomes the hunted as Jack chases after McStarley. Being a monster, Breckle has been aiding McStarley through the contest, giving him a shotgun in another supply drop, a wise thing to give a psychopath when you have lax security. McStarley wounds Jack, who manages to slip away, causing him to start attacking the cameramen, earning a machine gun in the process.
Merry Christmas.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho. Ho, ho.
Nothing like a jungle setting to start randomly making references to Christmas and Die Hard. Jack pounces on McStarley and the pair engage in fisticuffs where Jack looks like he's going to win. McStarley grabs a knife and regains control and shoots his shotgun at Jack, who ends up being knocked out. So McStarley becomes the victor. They start playing the interview from earlier on.
Nothing we do as entertainers are going to make a difference, all right?
So what about children?
Look, Donna, we as entertainers cannot tailor make everything we do for children. It's the parents' responsibility to monitor what their kids watch.
That's a cop-out, Ian, and you know it. You have to take some responsibility.
Oh, fuck off, movie, you hypocritical piece of shit. What you just did there was advocate censorship. And for what? Oh, won't someone please think of the children, screams Helen Lovejoy. So apparently, we can't do difficult subjects in film and media because some lousy parents might allow their child to watch it. That is a very dangerous and slippery slope to go down. And I may not agree with your stupid message, but I will defend your right to make a violent, patronising movie about it. What's that? Your movie is rated R in the United States? It has an 18+ age rating in the UK? Wow, that doesn't make The Condemned exactly the sort of violent movie that itself is commenting on, does it? I guess no one told the filmmakers that children were going to be watching when they included brutal violence and a rape scene. And who put out this movie? Oh, that's right, the WWE, which makes a living off of staged, spectacled violence available on pay-per-view. I guess we shouldn't watch their product. Oops. Or how about Lionsgate, the house that Jigsaw built with an annual goodie bag of torture year after year? Now, I'm not saying these views represent these two companies, but this is their product, so seeing an anti-violence sentiment seems spectacularly ill-advised.
When I finished this interview, I was angry at one man. I now realize my reaction was simplistic. Over the past 24 hours, millions have logged onto his website, and with his success, I am no longer angry. I am sad. Those of us who watch, are we the condemned?
Well, we certainly are if we're watching this piece of crap. How dare you throw fictionalised violence under the same bus as real violence? And how about we look at the way this film was marketed? Oh, here we go. Lurid images of violence. The tagline, 10 people will fight, 9 will die, you get to watch. That sounds pretty questionable to me. The official movie website? WatchThemDieLive.com, which is not the in-movie website name either. That's just downright sleazy. So basically, you're questioning a society built on violence, which you then use to advertise the movie. Yeah, I might think you have no fucking defence for this. And I think people who came to see violence based on your advertising will certainly appreciate being lectured in their entertainment choices.
Hey, Breck, check it out. 40 million, 171 countries worldwide.
So he actually got his Super Bowl audience? Oh, bullshit, movie. You're dropping your message with the subtlety of an asteroid crashing into the face of the Earth. Breckle is informed that the Navy has located the island and SEALs are on their way. Breckle is a weasel who of course tries to leave everyone else behind, even having a lackey kill best friend Goldman. You know, promoting an internet stream deathmatch using your face doesn't seem like a good idea in retrospect now, does it? Speaking of those, McStarley is driven to the compound and has his ankle bracelet deactivated, but Breckle is a treacherous bastard and refuses to give him the prize money. Again, turning on a psychopath that already killed your camera crew is probably not a wise idea in the long run. Sure enough, McStarley starts a brutal killing spree and storms into the control room with a machine gun and holds them hostage.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Well, this is an ugly scene. Good thing they didn't set a fire starter like we're meant to find it entertaining. Oh, that's right. Jack wakes up from unconsciousness and rushes to the compound while McStarley is down to the last crew member.
Do you enjoy watching all this?
Do ya?
I'm sorry.
It's too late.
As if they haven't beaten you over the head with the message enough, we now have the film's psychopath chastise people for enjoying violence. You know, exactly the same thing he does. And the message is very clear. People who enjoy violence should be killed or at least punished severely. Cake, anyone? The last person left alive is Breckle's girlfriend, but before anything can happen, Jack shows up. And in what this movie obviously thinks is subversive, they sit down and talk.
I didn't volunteer for this. The military, they sent me to every hellhole on this fucking earth. Then they disowned me. 4 years in an African prison.
Sounds like you've had a hard life.
Yeah.
Good thing it's over.
As an action movie ending, that's obviously a failure, but on a dramatic level, it's still a total non-event. No, we're saving the proper action movie retribution for Breckle, who Jack chases to his helicopter with Breckle's girlfriend carrying McStarley's ankle bracelet following behind. Just when it looks like Breckle might get away, his girlfriend offers Jack the ankle bracelet to use as a grenade to throw into the helicopter. It promptly blows up and crashes, killing Breckle. So it's okay to help your boyfriend be murdered because technically you didn't do it. Plus he deserved it, so that makes it alright. Jack is reunited with Sarah, I don't care, roll credits. The Condemned is one of the most hypocritical films I have ever seen. It wouldn't nearly be as bad if it wasn't a WWE-backed film with wrestlers and thuggish ex-footballers in the cast that sold itself on its lurid, exploitative premise. Action films have never been places for messages, and certainly not ones about media violence. There's no humour, no invention, and for a star vehicle, it's a waste of Steve Austin. Austin's barely in the movie, perhaps to hide his lack of acting ability, but it means he makes almost no impression in the role, and his anti-authority streak is not exploited. Perhaps that's why it made back less than half of its very low $20 million budget at the box office, because audiences want to be entertained, not lectured, and The Condemned doesn't deliver on any level. I'm Matthew Buck, beating down bad movies everywhere.